Hello everyone, my name is Takama. I'm making these videos sharing my knowledge of cooking as well as exploring a wide variety of recipes and different ways of cooking. If you too enjoy learning, cooking and sharing, welcome to Kama's Kitchen. So there are a reasonable amount of ingredients in this recipe, and that's largely because of the salad bowl, but the burger patties themselves are reasonably simple. They do have a few ingredients that are optional, so if you're not that keen on them, you can just leave them out. So let's get to these ingredients. The very first is chickpeas. You will need 2 cans of chickpeas, and they need to be drained and rinsed, and that's it. That's all you need to do for them. If for some reason chickpeas are not on the menu, then the only other bean I'd recommend would be kidney beans. Butter beans, there's too much moisture content. It would make it a bit too mushy. But you can always experiment with other beans if you want to. The other ingredient is sweet potato, and you'll need 500 grams of sweet potato. What's 500 grams? A pound of sweet potato. And that needs to be peeled and cooked till it's nice and tender. And I just use the microwave to do mine. It's quicker and easier, but cook it however you prefer. And that's not really one that can be substituted, because the sweet potato in this recipe is replacing breadcrumbs, flour and eggs that you would traditionally use in burger patties. I can't honestly think of a suitable substitute, but if anyone else can, please let me know in the comments below. Okay, the next ingredient is Thai red curry paste, and you'll need 3 tablespoons, which is about 86 grams of Thai red curry paste. Doesn't have to come out of a jar, you can make your own. I used this when I made the Thai pumpkin soup, so I want to finish the jar. And if you made the Thai pumpkin soup, this is a good recipe to finish off the curry paste with. All right, the other ingredient is lemongrass. Now, this doesn't look like your conventional lemongrass, and that's because I am actually using a squeezable lemongrass. It's still all lemongrass, but it can go in your freezer. And I found that for me to be a lot more cost effective than buying the fresh lemongrass, because it's not something that I use all that often. But this will, once it's opened, this will keep in the freezer for a year, and it will still squeeze straight out of the freezer. So I'm a little in love with them, especially for lemongrass and ginger. They're really great go-tos when you think you've got ginger, and then you go to and find no ginger. Oh, what am I going to do? Well, it's there in the freezer. Sure, they're not quite as good as when you've got it fresh, but they're still pretty good. You'd be hard pressed to tell the difference once it's cooked into a recipe. All right, our last ingredient for the burger patty, so I told you that was not too bad for ingredients, is spring onions. And you'll need 40 grams or about 2 spring onions, and pretty finely minced. Now, the spring onions and the lemongrass, they are optional, so if they're not things that you're into, that's fine, just leave them out. And I left out an ingredient which is coriander, and you'll need a small bunch of coriander chopped up. Again, that is optional. If you're like, coriander, it's not your thing, that's totally okay. Just leave it out. So the primary ingredients are 2 cans of chickpeas, 500 grams of sweet potato, 3 tablespoons of red curry paste. That's it. That's pretty good for a burger patty. All right, now there is more though, and that is our salad bowl. Now remember, everything I show you here, I'm not going to give substitutions or anything, because everything I show you here is optional. If it's not your thing, then swap it out for something that is. Totally okay. So I've started with some leafy greens, and I've got a mix of baby spinach and rocket and some coloured lettuce. I like having a mix. I like that variety. I've also got red onion rings, and I've used 8 rings. You can use more or less depending on your preference for onion. On this plate, I have a little bit of beetroot, some jalapeno, and 6 cherry tomatoes halved. So with the jalapeno, I probably used a very small fresh jalapeno. The ones that I've used are actually pickled jalapenos, but yeah, if you prefer to use a fresh jalapeno, just a really small one. And I also have some cheese, says the person who's lactose intolerant. This is bio shred. This is actually made from coconut oil. I really like the bio range. They have the shred. They've also got halloumi. They've got cheddar block as well as cheddar slices. So for somebody like me, it's just yes. I can enjoy cheese in all its forms. And the last ingredient to go onto my burger bowl is tahini. This is Lebanese tahini. It cost me an arm and a leg, but it was worth it. You can also get tahini in your supermarket for much less. And you can get it in hulled and unhulled. And basically what that means is that the shell of the sesame seed has been taken away and then it's been ground. And unhulled means that it's been ground, shell and all. And sometimes unhulled can have a little bit of a bitter aftertaste. It all depends on what you're using it for. For drizzling, I find unhulled is probably the nicest. If you really don't like tahini, you can also try toasted sesame seeds on top, sprinkle some of that on top, maybe with some chili flakes. You can also use mayonnaise, whatever you like. Yeah, that's the beauty of this. It can be whatever you like. Okay, well, that is all of the ingredients. Oh, olive oil. There'll be a little bit of olive oil for frying, something I very rarely do, but there's that. You probably need about a teaspoon if you're using a non-stick frying pan. If you're not using a non-stick frying pan, you'll probably need a tablespoon. Yeah, roundabout. Yes, that's definitely the last ingredient. Okay, tools you'll need are a bowl and a stick blender or a food processor or a blender. You'll also need a non-stick frying pan preferably, but it's not the end of the world if it's not. Alternatively, if you would prefer to bake them, you'll need a baking sheet with baking paper. You also need a basting brush, or if you have the olive oil spray, and yeah, you just need a quick spray. Okay, that really is it. So let's get to making these burger patties. All right, here we are with our mixing bowl, and I'm using a metal bowl, but you can use a glass or ceramic bowl if that's what you have. That's cool. So into the bowl, chickpeas and the sweet potatoes and your, well, I'm using a stick blender, whatever it is that you're using. You want to blend this until it is a very fine paste. So I'll see you when that's done. So that's what you're looking for, nice and thick. And now we're going to mix all the rest of the ingredients in. So you'll need a spoon, which I forgot to mention, but you'll need one of those. And tip in all of the curry paste, the lemongrass if you're using it, the coriander if you're using it, and the spring onions if you're using those. And make sure that they've been mixed in thoroughly. Now every episode I have a nutritional fact, and well, for this episode my nutritional fact is going to be sweet potatoes, because they're amazing. And as you know, in this recipe they're replacing flour, breadcrumbs and eggs. But they're also high in fibre. They're high in the vitamins A, C, B6 and manganese. And they also have antioxidants that help protect your body from free radicals. What are free radicals, you ask? They cause damage to our bodies. They destroy the cells, which can then lead to cancer or heart disease. And they can also contribute to premature aging. Sweet potatoes, well, their fibre content, I should say, their fibre content contributes to gut health because they contain soluble and insoluble fibre. So soluble fibre absorbs lots of water, and insoluble fibre, it just tends to pass through. It's what they call roughage. But also some of it ends up in your colon, and it ends up feeding some of the bacteria in your colon. And that is a really healthy thing to have happen. A healthy colon is a happy you. So, yeah, sweet potatoes are cancer fighting. They assist your vision because they also have beta carotene, which comes, that's where their color comes from, is the beta carotene. And the beta carotene converts to vitamin A in humans. So yeah, that's an antioxidant and very, very good for us. So this is why sweet potatoes are an amazing vegetable and worthy of eating. They're super good for you and super tasty too. Okay, I think I'm mixed in, well and truly mixed in. So now what we need to do is make little burger patties. So I'm just going to make a little space for my plate and we'll do that. So I've got my plate and I've got a head start on the patties. It's a bit cheeky of me, I know. I am using a poaching ring to make my patties. You can do it by hand or you can do it, I'm not even sure that's a hack, but that's what I've been doing for years and years and years. I just find it much easier. That way you get a uniform burger shape and a uniform burger size, more or less. So I like using those. So as you can see, this mix is not kind to people who don't like to touch food, I'm afraid. You can wear food preparation gloves if you prefer. And yeah, just shape out your patties. And I guess make them as big or as small as you want. That would also depend on how many people you want to serve. And once you have got all your patties, then put them into the fridge for half an hour, and then they'll be ready to fry up. So I'm going to finish off shaping out my burgers, and once they've had some time in the fridge, I'll be back to fry them up and make this burger bowl. Okay, well, my patties are out of the fridge. They've been in the fridge for half an hour, and we do that because it just helps them firm up. It's no guarantee that they're going to, well, that they're not going to fall to pieces. I had a few that still were a bit, they don't want to hold together. But putting them in the fridge for around about half an hour helps to avoid that. And I have my frying pan on high, and you want it on high, and you'll want to keep it on high. If you cook it on too low heat, they'll just turn to slush. I've also used extra virgin olive oil, and I've basted my pan with about a teaspoon of oil. You want to minimize the amount of oil that you use, and that's why a non-stick pan is preferred, because these types of burgers, they just soak up oil like a sponge, and what you end up with is a gloopy, oily mess if you use too much oil. So try to keep the oil to an absolute minimum. And yeah, you just wait a couple of minutes and give them a turn. Don't feel too bad if they fall apart or become a bit misshapen. And I'm no good at flipping things, so they might not always look the perfect patty, but they sure taste great. So I'm going to finish frying these up because they are pretty much done, I think, or close to. And we'll put together the burger bowl. So we are now at the best part, which is putting our burger bowl together. If you do end up with misshapen burgers, and you don't want misshapen burgers, you can, if you're using the poaching ring, you can use that to reshape them once they're cooked. They do stay reasonably soft for quite a while, so that gives you an opportunity to make them into perfect little burgers. That's the only tip I had. This part now is highly personalized because it depends on how much you want, and it depends on what you want. This serves 4 if you have 2 burgers each. If you're a more conservative eater, then it potentially could serve 8 because it makes 8 burgers. Yeah, that's something you'll have to decide. I'll stick to it serves 4. All right, so how do we put this together? Well, what I do anyway is I start with the salad leaf mix, and then I add the onion rings on the bottom, and then I add the beetroot, and I've cut them, I should show you that they've been cut into little chunks, and I guess, yeah, scattering chunks, and that's what you do. You just scatter them throughout the salad, and you do the same with the jalapenos. If you don't like the idea of whole slices of jalapeno, you can dice them up into smaller pieces so it's not so intense. And you do the same with the tomatoes as well. It's super simple. It's pretty much like making any other salad, except you put a burger patty on top and it's just gorgeous. Right, now next, this might be a bit controversial because some people like cheese on top. Being a burger bowl, that doesn't work for me personally. So I put the cheese on the bottom where the burgers are going to sit. And then I place the burgers on top, so you get nice melty cheesiness all the way down into your salad. And then lastly, the tahini, or whatever you're going to drizzle your burgers with, and you just drizzle them on top. And if you're really lucky, you'll get something that looks really nice and arty. So that is the finished bowl. The downside of only having one camera angle. So how does it taste? Let's find out. It's really warming. First you get the lemongrass, and then you get the red curry kick, and it's just got a nice sweetness, not an overwhelming, it's a subtle in the background sweetness from the sweet potato. Just really, really awesome. I really think you'll love it. I think even if you're not really that into beans or cooking in this type of way, I really think you'll like these. And even if you don't want them with salad, these would go really great next to some grilled fish or next to some fried chicken. They are versatile that way. So what more can I say? Beautiful. Cook it, try it. And thank you for watching and joining me in my kitchen today. I really hope you found some parts of this video informative and that you enjoyed it. If you do have any questions or comments, please do leave them in the comment section down below. If you liked this video, don't forget to click like. And if you like this video and you'd like to like more videos in the future, then don't forget to subscribe. Thank you again very much for watching, and I wish you good karma in your kitchen.